Have you ever stopped to wonder what your body would do if a heart attack began while you were completely alone? Not in a hospital, not at the doctor's office, but right there in your kitchen, or lying in bed at night, with no one around to notice or help. It's a chilling thought, and yet it's one that far too many people, especially those over 60, never truly prepare for. Many of us assume we'll have time to react, or that someone will be nearby to step in. But the truth is, heart attacks can come on suddenly and quietly. And in those first few minutes, every second matters. What you do or don't do can make the difference between life and death. The idea of facing something so serious without support can feel overwhelming, even frightening. But there's good news. You don't need to be a doctor, a paramedic, or have any special equipment to give yourself a real fighting chance. With a little preparation and calm, clear action, you can take control in those critical early moments. This isn't about fear. It's about being ready. In this video, we'll walk you through 7 simple, practical, and life-saving steps you can take the moment you suspect a heart attack. Steps that can buy you time, stabilize your condition, and help emergency services help you faster. These are things anyone can do, regardless of age or medical training. And we'll explain them in a way that's easy to follow and remember. So even if you're watching this alone, know this: you're not powerless. Stay with us until the very end, because some of the final steps are the most overlooked. But they might be exactly what keeps your heart beating long enough for help to arrive. Your life, or the life of someone you love, may one day depend on what you learn today. That's why the very first and most important step is recognizing the earliest warning signs of a heart attack, especially when you're by yourself. Most people think heart attacks start with a dramatic, crushing pain in the chest like you see in movies, but the reality is much quieter and often more deceptive. According to the American Heart Association, nearly half of people who die suddenly of coronary heart disease had no previous symptoms, and among those who survive, many admit they ignored the early signs, thinking it was indigestion, a pulled muscle, or just fatigue. The truth is, your body usually whispers before it screams, and if you learn to listen to those whispers, you may have a chance to act before it's too late. So what exactly should you watch for? One of the most common early signs is an uncomfortable pressure, squeezing, or fullness in the center of your chest. It might come and go. It might feel like something heavy is resting on your chest, or like your shirt suddenly feels too tight. But chest discomfort is just one piece of the puzzle. You might also feel short of breath, even when you're sitting still. You could break out in a cold sweat, feel lightheaded, or experience nausea for no clear reason. Pain might travel to your left arm, neck, jaw, or back. And here's something important. For older adults, especially women, the symptoms can be even subtler, like pressure in the upper back, extreme tiredness, or a sudden wave of anxiety. These are not always the signs we're taught to expect, and that's exactly why they're so easy to dismiss. Let me share a little story about Harold, who was 73 years old. He was making his morning coffee when he felt a strange aching in his upper chest. Nothing sharp or intense, just a dull pressure that made him pause. Then he noticed he was breathing harder than usual, even though he hadn't moved much. He thought about taking a nap, but something didn't feel right. He remembered a doctor once saying that heart attacks in older men can start with barely noticeable symptoms. So instead of brushing it off, he sat down, chewed an aspirin, and called 911. That decision likely saved his life. When paramedics arrived, he was still conscious, but his heart rhythm was unstable. They told him if he'd waited another 10 minutes, he might not have survived. Stories like Harold's remind us that staying alive begins with taking your body seriously. If you feel something unusual, especially a combination of chest discomfort, breathlessness, sweating, or fatigue, do not ignore it. Do not assume it will go away. And most importantly, do not try to tough it out. It's not about being dramatic. It's about being smart. Medical professionals would rather treat you for a false alarm than arrive too late to help. Research from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology shows that patients who recognize and respond to early symptoms within the first 15 minutes have significantly better outcomes and lower chances of long-term heart damage. That's why we're starting here, with awareness. You can't take action if you don't know you're in danger. So listen to your body. If it feels off, if something just doesn't feel like it usually does, pause. Take a breath. And remember what you've learned, because recognizing the warning signs isn't just step one. It's your first and best shot at survival. And in the next section, we'll talk about what to do next, the call that could mean everything. So stay with us. Once you've recognized the warning signs, the next step is simple but absolutely vital. Call 911 immediately. Not your son, not your neighbor, not your doctor. Call emergency services first. Time is everything during a heart attack. The longer your heart goes without oxygen-rich blood, the more damage is done, and the harder it becomes to survive and recover. According to the CDC, nearly 80% of heart attack deaths occur outside of a hospital, often because people wait too long to get help. And in many of those cases, the person was alone, unsure, or afraid of overreacting. But here's the truth. Calling 911 is never overreacting. In fact, it's the most responsible, life-saving action you can take when you suspect something is wrong. Emergency responders aren't just drivers. They're trained to treat you on the spot, bring the equipment and medication you need, and keep you alive on the way to the hospital. Every second counts, and they know how to make those seconds work in your favor. Think about Rose, 76. She lived in a quiet apartment complex and spent most of her days reading or tending to her small garden. One afternoon, while folding laundry, she felt a strange burning sensation rise from her chest to her jaw. It wasn't excruciating, but it was unsettling. Her hands started to sweat. Her breathing grew shallow. She sat down, heart racing, and reached for her phone. But instead of calling for help, she hesitated. What if it's just indigestion? What if I'm being silly? The fear of embarrassment crept in. She almost didn't call. But then she remembered her neighbor, a woman her age, who had died the year before from a heart attack while waiting for her son to call back. That memory pushed her to press 911. When the dispatcher answered, Rose's voice shook. "I think I'm having a heart attack," she whispered. "I'm alone." The operator stayed on the line, calming her, coaching her through every breath. Within minutes, help arrived. The paramedics told her she had made the call just in time. Her heart had begun to show signs of distress. Had she waited even 10 more minutes, she might not have made it. Rose later said that phone call was the hardest and bravest thing she ever did. It wasn't just about dialing a number. It was admitting she needed help and trusting that it would come. And it did. Her story is not unique. It is deeply human. In moments of fear and uncertainty, it's natural to doubt ourselves. But the body doesn't lie, and when it speaks, we must answer with action, not hesitation. So please, don't wait. Don't downplay it. Don't think you'll just lie down and feel better. The worst thing you can do is convince yourself it's nothing. The best thing you can do is pick up the phone and make that call. And if you're worried you won't be able to speak clearly, keep your phone's emergency call feature active and ready. On most smartphones, you can dial emergency services even from a locked screen. Some even let you press a button multiple times to trigger a call automatically. Learn where that feature is now, because in the heat of the moment, you won't have time to figure it out. Call 911. Let them come to you. Let the professionals carry the weight. You've done your part. And in the next section, we'll show you one small but powerful action that could support everything they do, something you probably already have in your kitchen cabinet. Don't stop now. This knowledge could one day save your life. And now, here comes the wake-up call, one that's small, quiet, and easily overlooked, but might be the very thing that tips the scales in your favor. Chew an aspirin. Yes, something as ordinary as a single aspirin tablet could be what keeps you alive long enough to see the ambulance pull into your driveway. It may sound too simple to be true, but it's backed by science and practiced by emergency responders around the world. According to the American Heart Association, taking aspirin during a suspected heart attack can reduce death risk by as much as 23%. It works by slowing down the blood's ability to clot. When you're having a heart attack, a clot is usually what's blocking blood from reaching your heart. Chewing a 325 milligrams aspirin, not swallowing it, helps your body absorb the medication faster, giving your heart a better chance to survive the blockage. This is not a home remedy. This is real, clinical, proven first response care. But here's the thing, you have to be ready. That means you need to know where your aspirin is right now, not tucked away at the back of a medicine cabinet, not expired, not in a bottle you can't open with shaky fingers. Keep it in a nightstand, a kitchen drawer, your purse, or even in your wallet, somewhere you can get to with one hand while sitting or lying down. And make sure it's uncoated, regular aspirin, not the delayed release kind. Because when your heart is in crisis, timing is everything. Think of Walter, 79. He lived in a farmhouse on the edge of town with his dog and a shelf full of Western novels. One night, just after dinner, he felt a sudden pressure in his chest, like something heavy had settled right beneath his breastbone. He sat down, trying to breathe through it, but the tightness got worse. He felt sweat forming under his collar, his arm tingling. He remembered hearing something about aspirin helping during a heart attack. Slowly, he got to this cabinet, found the bottle he kept next to the coffee filters, and chewed one tablet while dialing 911. "Chew it, don't swallow," the dispatcher reminded him. He followed the instruction. When the EMTs arrived, they told him his quick action likely spared him permanent heart damage. And later, his cardiologist told him bluntly, "If you hadn't taken that aspirin, we might be having a different conversation right now." Walter now keeps a strip of aspirin tablets taped to the underside of his nightstand. "That little white pill," he says, "is the reason I get to read another book." His story, like so many others, reminds us that small steps matter. Check your aspirin supply today. Keep it somewhere easy to reach. Tell your family where it is. If they ever need to help you, or if you're the one helping them, those few seconds of preparation could be the difference between a hospital stay and a funeral. You don't have to be afraid. You just have to be ready. In the next part, we'll talk about something even more powerful than what's in your medicine cabinet. The one action that costs nothing, takes no effort, and gives your heart its best shot at survival. Don't go anywhere. What you'll learn next may be the most important step of all. Once you've called for help and chewed your aspirin, the next thing you must do is surprisingly simple. Sit or lie down and stay still. That's it. And yet, this single action may give your heart the best chance to hold on until help arrives. In the panic of the moment, many people feel the urge to keep moving, maybe to gather medications, unlock doors, or just to feel like they're doing something. But any physical exertion, even mild activity like walking across the room, forces your heart to work harder. And when your heart is already struggling to pump blood through a blocked artery, that extra effort can make things worse fast. Sit down with your back supported and feet flat on the floor, or lie down if you feel faint or lightheaded. Let your body rest. Your only job now is to survive the next few minutes with as little stress on your heart as possible. Try to stay in a position where your breathing is open and relaxed. Don't hunch forward or slump. If you're sitting, let your arms rest gently in your lap or at your sides. If lying down, elevate your head slightly with a pillow or a folded blanket to help ease any pressure on your chest. This position helps reduce your heart's workload and keeps oxygen flowing to the areas that need it most. Think about Evelyn, 81. She was doing her crossword puzzle on the porch when she suddenly felt a sharp pressure in her chest and a wave of dizziness that made her vision blur. Her first instinct was to go inside, gather her insurance card and change clothes, something her generation often thinks of as getting ready to go to the hospital. But something in her gut told her to stop. She remembered a seminar at her community center where a nurse had said, "If your heart is in danger, the best thing you can do is absolutely nothing. So Evelyn sat down, leaned back against her porch chair, and stayed still while she waited for the ambulance. By the time the paramedics arrived, she was pale and breathing heavily, but stable. They told her that if she had gotten up and tried to walk through the house, she might have passed out before they got there. That choice to sit still, to trust stillness, may have saved her life. There's a quiet strength in knowing when to stop. We live in a world that tells us to push through pain, to be tough, to keep moving. But a heart attack is not the time to be tough. It's the time to be still. You're not being lazy or helpless. You're protecting your most vital organ in its most fragile moment. And every second you stay calm and quiet gives your heart a better chance to recover. So if that moment ever comes, resist the urge to do anything more. Stay where you are. Stay grounded. Stay alive. Because in those minutes before help arrives, stillness isn't inaction. It's your greatest act of strength. Up next, we'll talk about a step that takes just a few extra seconds, but can shave precious minutes off the time it takes paramedics to get to you. Stick with us. This next tip could make all the difference. If you've followed the first few steps, then take one more action that can quietly but critically support everything else you've done. Unlock your door. It might not seem like much in the moment, especially when your chest is tight and your breath feels shallow, but that simple turn of a knob could shave precious seconds off the time it takes for emergency responders to reach you. And in a heart attack, seconds are everything. If paramedics arrive and can't get in quickly, they may have to force entry, which can cost time and potentially cause damage or confusion. And if you happen to collapse or lose consciousness before they arrive, you won't be in a position to answer the door at all. Unlocking the door while you're still alert allows them to come straight to you, without delay, without distraction, without having to break anything down. It's a small step, but it sends a powerful signal. You're ready, and you've done your part to help them do theirs. Let's take the story of Frank, 74. He lived in a small single-story home at the edge of town. One morning, while pouring himself a glass of orange juice, he felt a crushing pressure beneath his sternum, followed by a wave of nausea and a cold sweat. He sat down immediately, called 911, and chewed an aspirin like his doctor had once advised. Then, with effort, he got up slowly, made his way to the front door, and unlocked it. He even left it slightly ajar. Then he sat back down in his armchair and waited, focusing on staying calm and breathing slowly. When the EMTs arrived less than 7 minutes later, they were able to come right in and begin treatment immediately. One of them told him later that getting through a locked door can sometimes take 2 or 3 extra minutes, which, in a cardiac emergency, can mean the difference between a pulse and none. Frank's quiet foresight gave them the window they needed to stabilize him on the spot. If walking to the door feels too risky, don't do it. Your safety comes first. But if you're nearby and steady enough to make the short walk, take that step. If not, consider installing a smart lock that lets paramedics in remotely, or using a secure medical lockbox with a key code that your local EMS has access to. These tools are especially helpful for older adults who live alone, and many communities even offer programs to help set them up at little to no cost. Think ahead. Is your home address clearly visible from the street? Is your entrance well lit at night? Can first responders get to you without being delayed by a locked gate or multiple doors? These are things to consider long before a crisis strikes. And if you have neighbors you trust, let them know how to help or where a spare key might be stored in an emergency. Sometimes being prepared isn't about big dramatic gestures. It's about small decisions made quietly, with care. Unlocking the door is one of them. It may not stop the pain or fix the blockage in your heart, but it can help others get to you faster and with less complication. You've already done the hard part, recognizing the danger and taking action. Now help the rescuers do theirs. In the next section, we'll show you how to use something you already have, your phone, to buy even more time and make sure you're not alone, even when no one else is in the room. Keep going. You're doing the right thing, one step at a time. Now that you've unlocked your door and settled yourself safely, there's one more tool you must not overlook. Your phone. In a moment like this, your phone becomes more than just a way to call for help. It becomes your lifeline, your connection to the outside world, and sometimes your voice when you can no longer speak. First, if you haven't already, switch your call to speakerphone. This allows you to talk to the 911 dispatcher without straining your body. When you're scared or in pain, even holding a phone to your ear can make it harder to breathe or stay balanced. A hands-free call lets you rest your arms, slow your breathing, and stay focused while allowing the dispatcher to hear you clearly, even if your voice fades. They'll be listening not just to what you say, but how you sound, your breath, your tone, the background noise, all of which can help them assess your condition in real time. Then there's another feature you must know about, your medical ID. Every smartphone today, whether iPhone or Android, has a built-in way to store your essential medical information: age, conditions, medications, allergies, emergency contacts, and here's the key. It's accessible from the lock screen, even if you're unconscious. Paramedics are trained to check this immediately when they arrive. If you're unable to speak, your phone can speak for you. Consider Clara, 77, who lived alone after her husband passed. One evening, while watching TV, she felt an odd flutter in her chest and a deep, aching pressure beneath her ribs. She called 911, turned on speaker, and lay back on the couch. But just minutes before the ambulance arrived, she lost consciousness. When paramedics got to her, she couldn't respond, but they picked up her phone and opened the medical ID from the lock screen. There, they found everything they needed: her blood type, her heart medication list, her daughter's number. That single piece of digital preparation gave them the confidence to treat her quickly and correctly. Her daughter was by her side at the hospital just an hour later. Clara survived because her phone told her story when she couldn't. If you haven't set up your medical ID yet, let this be your small wake-up call. It only takes 5 minutes. Do it today. Open your health app, tap on medical ID, and fill in the basics. Conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, medications you take, any allergies, and 1 or 2 emergency contacts. It's simple. It's free. And it could be the most important 5 minutes you spend this week. Technology can feel overwhelming sometimes, but in this case, it gives you back control. And in a situation where everything feels uncertain, that kind of control can mean survival. Don't wait until you're scared and alone on the floor to wonder if your phone can help. Make sure it can help now. This moment, this preparation, isn't just about heart attacks. It's about living with wisdom, with intention, with the quiet knowledge that even if you can't speak, you've already spoken for yourself. Coming up, we'll guide you through a final step, one that requires nothing but your breath and your focus. And it might just be the most calming, heart-steadying act of all. Stay with us. You're almost there. In the middle of a heart attack, when fear is rising and your chest feels tight, there's one last action you can take that requires no tools, no strength, and no special knowledge, just your breath. In fact, controlled breathing might be the single most powerful thing you can do to keep your heart steady while you wait for help. When the body senses danger, especially something as serious as a heart attack, your nervous system can go into overdrive. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense, your breath shortens, and your thoughts race. All of that stress increases the workload on your already struggling heart. But slowing your breath, deliberately and gently, can tell your body a different story. It can begin to calm your nervous system, lower your heart rate slightly, and help you avoid going into full-blown panic or dangerous arrhythmias. You don't need a complex technique, just something simple and steady. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 1 second, then slowly exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Then do it again and again. Keep your focus on the rhythm, the softness of the air going in and out. Let that rhythm carry you. You are not trying to cure the heart attack. You are giving your body the best possible chance to survive it. Think about James, 83, a retired mechanic with hands rough from years of work and a heart that had quietly weakened over time. One afternoon, as he stood in his driveway sweeping leaves, he felt a sudden tightness ripple through his chest, like something was squeezing him from the inside out. He sat down on the porch, called 911, and chewed the aspirin he kept in his shirt pocket. As he waited, his mind started spinning. He could feel panic clawing at the edges, but then he remembered a breathing exercise his doctor had once shown him during a routine checkup. Slowly he began to count his breaths. In for 4, hold, out for 6. Again and again. His hands were shaking, his chest ached, but his breath gave him something to hold on to, something steady when everything else felt uncertain. When the paramedics arrived, they told him his pulse was elevated, but not chaotic. They stabilized him quickly and said the way he had managed his breathing might have helped prevent his heart from going into a dangerous rhythm. James later said, "I just kept thinking, if I can keep breathing, I can keep going." And he did. That's the quiet power of breath. It seems too small to matter, but it's one of the oldest, most natural tools we have. And in the most critical moments, when machines and medications are still minutes away, your breath can become your bridge to survival. It's something you can practice anytime, while sitting in your favorite chair, watching television, or lying in bed at night. The more familiar the rhythm becomes, the more your body will return to it in moments of stress. Don't wait until fear is in the room to learn how to breathe through it. Start today. Make it a habit. Your heart will thank you, not just during a crisis, but every day you live with a little more calm, a little more clarity. So now, let's bring it all together. You've learned what to watch for, what to do, and how to prepare. These 7 steps aren't magic, and they don't require perfection, but together they form a lifeline. They give you back control, and most of all, they remind you of something powerful. Even when you're alone, you're never truly helpless. You are prepared, you are capable, and you are not without hope. Now that you have the tools and knowledge to act quickly in the event of a heart attack, it's time to take these lessons to heart. Remember, being prepared is not about panic. It's about staying calm, making the right choices, and buying yourself the time you need for help to arrive. These simple yet powerful steps can truly save your life. If you've found this video helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your loved ones, especially those who live alone or may be at risk, so they too can be prepared if the unexpected happens. You never know. This might be the video that saves someone's life. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content that can help you live a safer, healthier life, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or personal experiences to share, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Your feedback helps us create content that truly makes a difference. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're not alone in this. Stay prepared, stay calm, and take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.